In the old days, I would have tried to fight a breakout. Now I try to understand where are the squeeze pivots. So I don't know whether we can get to that 57.5 target. Well, who cares? You're just going to manage your stops at this point. Okay, our second target that we had talked about, 52.75, is achieved. And because we've not had a pullback into lunch, we may get one fairly soon, as traders will capture going into lunch. But it still won't negate the higher targets. And in my opinion, it's easier to trade along with the flow today, to buy the pullbacks till they don't work anymore. Oh, Zeke, I bet you're right. Oh, she did have a knack for that, didn't she? And she still made her 50 points, right? Every day, no matter what. Zeke said probably next we get 54. I don't know. I'm happy 52.75. Move your stops up, guys. Squeeze pivot is right here. And don't forget, you've got to put it into perspective with this typical ATRs, average true ranges. But this is a breakout day, so these targets are valid. And in the old days, meaning when I was immature and young, now I'm old and still immature. But the idea is I've learned you don't fight a trend type day. And it's easier to see this kind of behavior coming. And once you understand it's a breakout day. And we will get retests. So if you got your 52.75 target, I promise you nothing more. Anything you get above this is good fortune. And truthfully, with lunch coming, we may get some chop back and forth, but I still think today, at best, at 46.5, I don't see that breaking. If it does, I'd be very surprised. And target upside is, and I had said, the resistance zone should be this 48 to 52, meaning that should become a pivotal chop zone. It doesn't mean you can't spike a little higher, but I think there will be some time spent plus or minus 50. And once we get above 50, then the long side, you want to think about scaling out if you've got, multiples more than one. And that's the purpose of trying to identify that zone. And truthfully, as an aggressive short, I wouldn't even consider shorting until we got to the back end of that zone. This is the profit-taking zone. And today it just felt easier just to go along with the flow and figure that the 80-20 rule, Pareto principle said, maybe we can get into that 52 zone. So I consider the primary trade done, which means in the shortest amount of time we get the most amount of points. And then the hard part now comes for grinding higher. And just a lucky read today. But put this one down. Make copies of this and put it in your journal. That this was had to do with option X. That was one factor for this trade. And it had to do with a smoke and mirror trade of getting above not only the years open, but the idea that we had that if we're above the blue line at the open, it's for squeezing. That's a positive idea. And Zeke, right on the money. He said if we get past 37.5 at the open, we've done well. I said 36.75 because that was the magnet at the time. And right up cowboy, all I can say. Any additions, anything that you have bought on a rebuy at this pullback must stand on its own. Obviously, the same thing goes here as well. And this was a great morning. So my thinking is that we're going to get some chop. And if we get a spike high, it may come right back too. And if you get the 56 to 57.5 target, I would say, jump up and down and hug the kids and the dog and the wife and close out as much as you can there. And we can go to any high on the breakout. And the good fortune part now, see, just about at your target. Stops up. Okay, all these stop. Remember I said this was our squeeze pivot. So at this point, everything is up here now. Well done.